Hey everybody, Jeff Yenser, CreativeMusicGenius.com. Thanks for watching today. I want to talk about zones on the fretboard and three-note chords. Now here we have a C major, which is a three-note chord, in a bunch of different places on the fretboard, right? And what I want to talk about is anchoring on these three notes right here in order to figure out what to play. Like if you're playing a lead over say a song that's currently playing a C chord, right? What notes to play, right? How to make up melodies based on a C chord or riffs, right? This is incredibly helpful to think about it this way. It saves you from having to learn all these different scales, right? Is to just anchor on the chord tones, right? So C major, right? It's a C, an E, and a G, right? Which we got right here. C in red, E in yellow, G in blue. And you can see, okay, we got a zone here, we got a zone here, we got a zone here, we got a zone here. We got zones all over, right? That we can anchor to. And what we can see that every other note of the C major scale is right next door to one of these existing three notes. Like for example, we got our G, right? There's an A right there, okay? There's an F back there right now. Here's our C, okay? We get a D up here. We got a B directly behind it, right? And okay, so here is E down here, right? So, we also got an F there, okay? So we can play these other notes of the scale, right, and then anchor back to the three primary chord tones, okay? And, like if you're playing lead, that's really what you're doing, is focusing on these chord tones, filling in with a few other notes from the scale, right, and moving up and down the fretboard and around the fretboard in different areas, right? And when the chord changes, you change what chord you're playing over top of, okay? And then, even a beginner that plays lead guitar, right? You focus on the chord tones of the chords being played, right? You're gonna sound amazing, right? And you start throwing in these other notes, like think of these other notes of the scale as the moons, right? That the chord tones are the planets, right? The C, the E, the G, they have the most gravity. The moons just kind of orbit around them, right? So you go out to the moon and back, out to the moon and back, right? Think about it like that. You get to any note of the scale right next door, right? And then you just move up here, right? And then you just are anchoring in a different place. Now over here, you can see that I've got three strings at a time. Makes it so much easier to see and comprehend, right? Just those three strings. We've got C, right, in those three places, and we get up beyond the 12th fret. It all just repeats, right? So now if we go to a different set of three strings, A, D, and G, right? Now we got C anchored in other places, right? You can find this PDF on my website, CreativeMusicGenius.com. You get another set of three strings, right? So say you wanted to anchor here in this zone, right here on the 10th, 9th, and 8th frets of the D, G, and B strings, right? So there's your C, right? So D would be up here, B would be right behind it, right? There's your E, your F would be there. See, then you're back to G again, right? G down here, up here would be A, right? Then B, and then you're into C, right? And yet another zone, okay? So very flexible and a great way to think about actually playing the instrument rather than memorizing a bunch of scales, right? Even a beginner can do this. Focus on three notes, three strings at a time, get that down, and then before you know it, you'll be ripping and shredding and playing amazing music on the guitar